Welcome back, my friends. In today's video, I want to talk about your ideal client. You might have heard this before, but it's one of the most important things. If you don't sort this specific thing out, it's going to be tough for you. I'm not going to lie. You need to do this. I've seen so many coaches and so many business owners that figured, hey, I can help so many people. I'm not going to be specific. I'm going to help everyone I know and everyone I can. And that's all fine and well. The problem is, it's a nightmare to try to work with, scale and market. And you're gonna need to do marketing, guys. That's just a fact. One way or another, you need marketing. So we need to get specific. So let's start with the very basics. An ideal client or an ideal customer, depending on how you want to call it, is someone who you know ideally you could help. And my suggestion here is not just to think about this in a broad term, meaning that you know you can help people with lots of stuff. Think of a specific thing that you can help someone with and get a result really fast. That's a good starting point, because when you start out, you need to achieve results for clients fast. And fast can be different depending on what you do, of course. But you need to that you can get a result for someone. Fast as possible, basically. So start thinking about what you do. And we're going to talk more about the offer tomorrow. But start to think about what you do. What's the problem you solve for someone? Because you should be a shortcut. What you do and what you offer should be a shortcut in their life. So what is it you help someone with specifically? Then start thinking about, who are they? Do you work with men? Do you work with women? Do you work with both? Do you work with couples? Who do you work with? Where do they live specifically? Do they live in the US? Do they live in a big city? Do they live in small cities? Do they live in the rural areas? In the urban metropolitans? In New York and California? Where do they live? Because that's going to be important when it comes to the marketing. Everything we talk about now is incredibly important. Now, I usually say it's 80% of running a business. It's this. So you have to know where they are and how they live. So where are they? Is it a man? Is it a woman? Where do they live? Where do they shop? How much money do they earn every month? Do they have kids? How many kids? Are they married? Are they single? How are they engaged? What's their education level? You need to know these things. And the reason is, when you're going to start to run ads or you're going to start to do marketing, this is how we can target them. If we don't even think about where they are or where they are and where they live and how they spend their money or their habits, it's going to be really tough to market. A big mistake I see coaches do is they're really broad in their marketing, meaning you set it up like everyone ages 18 to 65 that are into personal development, and then you just run an ad to that. And that is way too broad. You need to be able to be specific. And by being specific, you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble, a lot of time, and a lot of money that you can spend on different and better stuff. So understand who they are in the demographical part of this. Next up, let's talk about, where do they want to go? What's their short-term goal? Where do they want to be in a month's time? Or maybe a half a year's time? What are they dreaming of? Where do they want to be in the future, in the long term? Where are they going? Those are two different things. Where they want to go in the short term, maybe a month to 6 months, and where are they dreaming of going, meaning somewhere further away in the future. Those two things are really important, because your messaging in everything you do and everything you create, every piece of content you do and every video you do, you want to talk about these things. Then you want to know what's the biggest problem they have right now, meaning over the next few days or weeks, and what's their biggest fear for the long term or the future. That's the same thing, but one of them is, where are they actually going to, where do you want to be, and the other one is, where are they definitely not want to, but where do you want to get away from. Those are 4 specific things. where they want to be in the short term, what they want to get away from in the short term, where they're dreaming of actually being in the long term, and where they fear of ending up in the long term. Knowing these 4 things, and it could be more than 4 things in each, you can have several different things in each category, so to speak. But knowing this, you actually have a possibility to talk to people in a way that resonates with them. I, for instance, know that one of the biggest fears a coach have when they start out is that they're not going to be able to help people. They have a desire to help, but they haven't done coaching before, so they don't really know if they can do it. And if they're qualified enough, they suffer from imposter syndrome. A lot of people I work with suffer with imposter syndrome. So we need to deal with that. Meaning that is one of the fears that I know I have to talk about and that I have to help people with. And whatever you do, you will have these type of things that are really specific for your clients that you can help them with. And you need to figure those out, and you need to be specific and help them with those. And your messaging have to resonate with those things. An important note here is that if you don't know what your ideal client is talking about, or if you don't know where they shop for their groceries or where they buy their favorite jeans, you need to understand that. You need to get that information. You need to ask, and you need to gather information. You cannot, and I cannot stress this enough, literally, you cannot just make things up and hope it works. If you just make things up and you say, I'm thinking that this is the person and I'm thinking that this is the needs they have, what's going to happen is it's not going to resonate and it's not going to work. You have to know that the information you have and the fears and ambitions they have are actually the real ambitions. If you don't, it's going to be trouble. I tried it out. I just did it that way. Nightmare. I can tell you. It was a nightmare. Didn't work at all. Spent thousands of dollars trying to run ads that no one were interested in because I had no idea at the time what problems my ideal clients were actually trying to solve. So I had to figure that out first. And I strongly suggest you do that too. Figure it out first and then start to feed traffic, feeding content and talking about it everywhere. And one last thing, when you actually go and take a look at your ideal client, the demographics of them and the psychographics of them, make sure you write this down in a piece of, I usually do it on paper with a pen. Make sure you write it down so you actually understand the person. Give the person a name. First name and a last name. Actually give them a name and then go through all the steps. Think about everything about that person that you could list. And make sure that you know this person, your ideal client, better than anyone else. That way you will have a much easier time, I wouldn't say extremely, but a much easier time to actually get your business working. That's the best suggestion for you. And before we end today, if you want to know more about how to build a coaching business, go pick up the guide. You have it right down below in the links, or you go to theideatoimpact.academy/guide. And you can pick it up for free. And it's the exact step-by-step guide for how we help our clients build their business and how I built mine. So go pick that up, guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.